Oh. Oh no. So Matt's trying to get out of introing me, yeah? And you heard what he said just before. You know, please sit down, there's some entertainment. All right. I'm feeling things aren't normal right now. I feel I'm in danger. My name's Katherine Kirk. Take off my combat gear for this whole thing. I am a very strange coach. So I get hired to do really odd and strange projects where things are really not working. And I had a background being brought up in an Aboriginal tribe because my parents were hippies. And that gave me a very different view of the world, which seems to come in handy in software engineering. So I've ended up getting paid to go and look at things and suggest stuff that looks a bit different. In that process, I kind of found Eastern philosophical models and got a bit obsessed with it because it seemed to work in those circumstances, some of these models. I think I ran one of the worst BDD projects at the BBC in 2010, which Liz Keogh saved for me wherever it is. And I floated up to the top in my, expertise in terms of if you call executives the top, and working with them and changing mindset. But my heart is always in technology. It is a reason why I swapped over from the music business. Now, if that all doesn't sound a bit weird, then you're my kind of person, yeah? So one of the things that you have to understand is Matt plays mind games with me, and he said, can you come to a talk? So I was like, yeah, I can do that. And then he sort of like, I said, well, because I like to play around with it a little bit and say, could you just give me a subject, perhaps, that you wouldn't normally have, and then in the conference or something that's missed, and I'll talk about it. So he said, talk about projects. So I said, okay, I will. So I'm not going to say a word about BDD. I'm going to have a conversation. So I'm also going to be highly technical and use post-it notes. I'm going to go lo-fi. So we've got a little bit of difference here. I hope you can all deal with that, which is nice. So I thought about project management. I did. I used to do project management, and I advise a lot of people in it. And I noticed that we have a few challenges that are arising. So I thought I might give you just a bit of 101, because I was imagining, of course, talking to Matt as so I thought the basics, yeah? So here we have a brick, all right? This is a brick, everybody, a brick. Just keep that in the mind. Now, many bricks can become a wall. That means that bricks are on top of each other and they interact and they become a wall. You're going to put, there's 40. You can spread them around. It's all good. So often we would like to make walls. It's nice. We need them. Okay. In the outback, you didn't make walls because it was too hot. But walls. Now, here's the thing. Bricks are interdependent. All right. You can't just have one big brick as a wall, although I think the Romans did try at times. Yeah. You have multiple bricks that make up a wall. So we need this thing. I like to do this in technology. We do this thing, and we have to have something that glues it together. And this is mortar, right? That's a trowel, and that's a bucket, I think. And this is made up. This is kind of like a sloppy cement that sticks it together. Yeah, just in case you guys missed that. So, if we want to make a very strong wall, what we do is we get many bricks and we stick them together with, you guessed it, mortar. So you look at that, it's a picture of a strong wall down there. extra dark elements there representing the mortar. Right. So, in your first lesson today, you have discovered that a brick is a small element of a bigger thing. That's nice to know. Excellent. And mortar, right? That helps stick the bricks together. Good? We've got it. So if we think about it, this is the old way of looking at the universe, isn't it? Because a brick, we like to think of as kind of like a project. A product is made up of many projects, like a wall is made up of many bricks. And the mortar are agreements. We set agreements between projects to help us make the big wall, the big, stable delivery of product. Ooh, that's a mecca. Can you hear the echo? Yes, that's right. So that's what we would love to do. Now here's the thing, everybody, that's the concrete industry, yeah? That's the concrete industry. That's not technology. Yeah? Just a handy hint, different colour for that. Right, so I thought I'd bring you some breaking news. We have a new landscape. Yeah, we do. It's very, very different from the concrete industry, from the building industry even. Yeah? So, let's look at the elements in that kind of an environment. This is a person. See, you can tell. It's got a head, arms and legs. That's a person. The important thing to remember about people is that a person is not an ingredient for a brick. Yeah? A person is not sand. A person, I feel like we're back at that coaching camp we had together. A person is not sand. A person is not a piece, some water. It's not a piece of, I don't know what else is put into a brick, right? This also means that a group of people is not a brick in a wall, right? It's a bit of a shock. I don't know who's trembling at this point, but try and contain yourself. So that's a does not equal. That's a group of people, does not equal a brick. Now, here's the shocking bit. Software delivery is fluid. It's fluid. It does this sort of twisty-turny thing. It's a little bit like art. It's a little bit like music, like jazz. And comms, the pesky thing called communication, that pesky thing called conversation, is needed between groups. And that is fluid. Huh, who would have thought? Yeah? Fluid. So, the lesson from that is interdependent groups of people cannot be held together by mortar. Doesn't work. It's a little abrasive. Yeah? And if we like to think of it in terms of a project and mortar representing agreements, it's very hard to get people held together by agreements because they make boundaries and then they start to separate from each other so they can have formal agreements and keep each other to those agreements. That causes little wars and politics. Because software has people which are communities, all right? Not a brick wall, right? We don't build brick walls, we build communities. We don't have projects, we have communities that interact. And so this is the point. I can see a few of you right now. Why? Yeah? Why not? I want the world to be bricks and mortar and everything to be very simple and formulaic, and that I can get a ton of people together based on, well, you represent sand, and you represent water, and you represent sun, because you're like really friendly, yeah? And then we'll get bricks, and I just have to replicate that over and over again, and we'll get a nice, big, stable product delivery. Okay. Well, this is where the Buddha messed us up, right? Eastern philosophical, I told you that's what I'm into. The Buddha was interested in reducing suffering. I'll have a bit of that. And he basically went around trying to work out what are the characteristics of existence. Yeah? What is it that keeps happening over and over again? It's called a pattern, right? And he found there were 3 characteristics of context. This is my interpretation, keep it in mind. I'm not a Buddhist monk, if you hadn't guessed. And he said these 3 characteristics of context are: 1, there is always change. For the scientists of you, it's change up there. Think about the arrow of time and think about the fact that we can't stop change from happening. He said there is interdependency, there is the not self. In other words, we are part of something bigger. Even the cells in your body are interdependent. Every cell on the planet is interdependent. When you go flying on a plane, you think you're the center of the universe, but actually you're part of a big city in the sky, if anybody saw that BBC documentary. An interdependent city in the sky. And the last one there is, there will always be dissatisfaction. They say, oh, hey, hang on a minute, we should be able to get perfection. Oh, maybe. But if I were to, let's just think, cook you the most beautiful dish you'd ever like, a chocolate mousse, and you had to eat it every day and it was perfect every day, you'd get bored, wouldn't you? Yeah? So even if you got everything you wanted, you'd be bored. So we do have this predisposition to dissatisfaction. Okay. Those are the 3 characteristics I noticed of our industry. This is the reason why Lean and Agile arose. Help us to embrace change, embrace interdependency, and embrace dissatisfaction as feedback for learning. So that's how it happened, really. The market demand went up and up. So we had roughly about 250 years of evolution in technology happen. In human years, 25 years. 25 years. And we're still dragging our knuckles on the ground like apes. And technology is zooming ahead, right? So Agile, very kindly, arose quite naturally. Thank you, Agile. Lean Agile, whichever you wanted to call it. But of course, that gave the large conglomerates that we work under a bit of a shock. Because they always thought, no, it's all about getting control, the opposite of change. It's all about making it about the me, about the leader. It's all about getting to perfect. Gordon Gekko told us all about that, didn't he, in the movie? And so we kind of had to adjust to that when we arose and woke up and saw that context. And so we kind of pretended for a while to management that people are bricks. They are projects. Of course they are. Get a group together. We even say it today. You had some project managers sitting here in the audience. And that gives us this lovely illusion that we're controlling everything. Lovely. It's a project. Yeah, in a sense, we're trying to get the best of both worlds. So we're having a bit of control because we can chop everything up, slice and dice, and we can make it about someone else. We can say, well, the product owner will be very happy with this. And we can get it to perfect as well. You know, if we can't get the product to perfect, we can also all do the technique perfectly. We can always do BDD perfectly, right? We can always do Agile and Lean perfectly. Oh, thank God. We've at least got that, right? And that in itself means that we have these Lean Agile projects, which I just call an illusion of compromise. Where we know the truth. We know that context Buddha was talking about was pretty much spot on. But we kind of pretend, we give, we might have to refactor that whole project. So we'll give it another project name. And we'll give it another time frame around it so that then the managers think we've achieved a new thing. Yeah? And then we can get paid for that. Awesome. But really it's just one big fluid flow of communication and interdependency. You see, we're still aiming to have these bricks of people building a solid wall applied to software engineering. What the? Come on. Come on. How many times do we need to go through this? We all know that around 2011, we started to wake up to this thing. Continuousness. Interdependency. And we started to do this thing called continuous delivery, right? Thank you. Thank you. That's lovely. I appreciate that. Yet we still keep trying to do projects. Still trying to make bricks. You see, we're at this point now where there is so much market demand that we really need fluidity of response and adaptability at much higher rates than ever before. The only issue with that is because we keep pretending that we're sand and water and bricks and walls, in that environment, which is the truth, projects make us act really weird. Really weird. Look at the we'll look at the Dark Triad. Okay, it's a model developed by, it's a model developed for psychology, management, and criminology. And it's where we all have embedded within us. We have psychopathy, narcissism, and Machiavellianism. And when we get very stressed, those things come out. That's called politics. And then when we're not so stressed, they go away. Okay, so this kicks it off, a lot of this project stuff. And that's, again, because we're obsessed with trying to balance those three characteristics of context with this need to do the opposite. Don't ask me to embrace change. I want to control something, so I'm going to pretend this is a controllable object. That type of behavior. Now, as I said before, one of the key factors I wanted to get across to all of you is people are not reliable ingredients to make bricks. If you've ever had one successful project, it is not likely that you will find in that a formula for the next project, because each individual you work with is different. But see, that's why we've survived as much as we have and so successfully, human beings that is, right? Because we're different. It makes us innovate together. You see, everything is changing. So even if you do manage to make agreements between all of yourselves, all the projects, all the people, write it all down, like a marriage, boy, it's going to work, right? No. Because you see, the environment keeps changing, the demand keeps changing, people keep changing. It's just like trying to build a wall where the ingredients themselves keep swapping around. It's unstable. And then we get to that point where we fail to build the wall we promised. And people will not behave as bricks. And then we get stressed and upset. Damn! And then we judge people and say, you're not a very good project manager, are you? Mm-hmm. You're not Lean Agile because you couldn't at least keep to the Lean Agile principles. Huh? Wow, that's pretty cruel. Stop. Stop! Stop. You see, truly, 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 it's going to be a shock to you, this one. You ready? Attention. We're human. We are human. And we are interdependent. We need conversations continuously. So I think it's time that we let go of this idea of projects. Maybe we should have a funeral. And let go of this idea that we can isolate and control in an environment where market demand is unprecedented, where innovative thought and creativity and insight are one of the key building blocks for society in this modern world. Not one human being has all the insight. Insight is the new market differentiator. Many human beings have different points of view, different insight, which has to come together via conversations in order for us to work out what it is best that we should do next. So, to wrap it up, people, groups of people are not bricks. Amazing, isn't it? I like the fact that there was a bit of recognition flickering through your eyes there. It's very important, I think, to listen to what the Buddha said, not to be religious, it's just, kind of works. Harmonise with those three characteristics, people. Harmonise. Stop fighting it. All right. Let's just embrace change. Work out better ways to embrace change. Let's embrace interdependency. Let's embrace the dissatisfaction that we have to deal with as feedback for learning. Because in an environment that is continuous, you'll always get a second chance. You'll always get a second chance. This is the thing. Be human. Be fluid. Stop trying to be bricks. This is where the new innovation is. For this community, for the technology community, and for the earth itself. Be human. Be fluid. Innovate with this. This, my friends, is truly the next revolution.